Welcome to our lesson on adaptations. The key questions for today are: what different environments are there? How are living things adapted to live in different conditions? What are the different types of adaptation? What type of organisms live in extreme environments? How does adaptation occur? The key words for today are adaptation, structural, behavioural, functional, extremophile. Living organisms live in many different environments. Task: describe as many different environments as you can. For example, a desert is hot, dry and sandy. There are many different environments on the Earth, and different organisms live in each place. The main environments that we will look at are deserts. These are hot, dry and sandy, and often very vast. Rainforests. These often have rich vegetation and lots of trees, a humid climate and a large forest canopy that can block out the sun to the forest floor. Polar regions. These are cold, snowy and large. Different animals and plants live in each location, with each having features that make them specially suited to the environment. Extension. Can you think of an animal or plant that lives in each place? An example of an animal that lives in the desert is a camel. Camels are sandy-coloured, so camouflage well. They have long eyelashes to protect their eyes from sand. They have large feet to distribute their weight on the sand to stop them sinking. They have a fatty hump to provide energy, and they have a hard mouth to enable them to bite cacti. A camel also does not sweat in high temperatures, so conserves its water. A plant that is adapted to live in the desert is a cactus. These have spines instead of leaves to stop water loss through transpiration. They have a large stem to store water and a thick cuticle to limit water loss. They also have a shallow root network that spans a large area to gather as much water as possible. In the rainforest, there are lots of different plants and animals. An example of an animal is a green-eyed tree frog. These frogs have flaps of skin on their bodies resembling tree bark. This means they are hard for predators to spot. The plants in the rainforest face a lot of competition for nutrients. This has resulted in many carnivorous plants, such as the pitcher plant, which can digest insects that land on it for nutrition. In the polar regions, vegetation is scarce, and the animals often have to survive with little food. Polar bears are adapted to live in the polar regions by having thick fur that helps to insulate them from the cold. They also have a small surface area to volume ratio, meaning they do not lose heat easily. They have large feet to decrease the pressure they exert on the snow, and sharp teeth and claws to help them catch and eat their prey. The adaptations of plants and animals fits into 3 categories: structural, behavioural, and functional. Structural adaptations are to do with the body and physical characteristics of the organism, such as shape, colour and fur length. For example, a dolphin has a streamlined shape to help it swim, and rabbits are brown to camouflage. Behavioural adaptations are to do with the behaviours of the organism. such as hunting in a pack like wolves, or huddling together for warmth like penguins. Functional adaptations are those that aid an action of the organism, such as finches having different beaks to suit to their most abundant food source. Task. Take a look at the picture of this elephant. Can you identify a structural, behavioural and functional adaptation? Extension. Explain how each of these adaptations aid an elephant's survival. A structural adaptation of an elephant is that they have large ears. The ears increase the surface area, helping the elephant to lose heat energy and cool down. A behavioural adaptation is to roll in mud so that a layer forms over the skin. This protects the elephant from the sun's radiation and also helps it to cool down. A functional adaptation is the elephant's tusks, which can be used to dig water holes to allow the elephant access to water. Task. State the adaptations of a nettle plant. Nettle plants have hairs that cause stings. Extension. Explain how these adaptations help to defend the nettle plant and protect it. The sting of nettles deters herbivores from eating them, so less of the plant is eaten. For example, an animal may take a bite, then, because it stings, it will not take any more, therefore leaving the plant intact. Some organisms live in extreme environments, such as high temperatures, high salt concentrations, or very low temperatures. These organisms are called extremophiles. Some bacteria are examples of extremophiles where they have adapted over time to thrive in environments we consider to be extreme. Polar region organisms such as penguins and desert organisms such as cacti can be considered extremophiles because they live in very cold or very hot climates. It is important to remember that adaptation is a slow process by which the characteristics of a species change to become more suited to their environment. It was labelled by Charles Darwin as survival of the fittest or natural selection. This means that due to the variation within a species, some are better adapted than others. These tend to live longer and be healthier, giving more chance of those organisms reproducing and passing on their genes. This is covered in more detail in the evolution topic.